call the March 27th Village of Armada Council meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Or do you want to call?
No, go over.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, we'll take the roll.
Yep. Clark?
Here.
Conan?
Here.
Belkey?
Here.
Sleds?
Here.
Ballard?
Here.
Okay.
We looked over the agenda. I have a motion for the approval.
Mr. President, I'll move the agenda be accepted as presented.
Support.
Moved by Ballard, supported by Clark to approve the agenda.
I would like to make a recommendation that we move 3A, new business, down to the last item we covered, just for decorum purposes.
Say again?
3A,
To
3A to where?
just to the bottom of the list. Let's do all of the other business and then take up that last, that
Okay.
last item.
You want to flip the order?
Okay. Okay, but the agenda's staying the same, just,
Yeah.
I think that's still amended.
Mhm.
yeah, it's still
Well,
amended, it's still.
Okay with amended, Bob?
Yeah, I'll go with
See?
that.
Okay, to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Are there any citizen comments? Being no citizen comments, we have no presentations tonight. Administrative reports. Who would like to go first? Doug?
Good evening, Mr.
Can we
President.
get you out of here?
I can tell where I'm not. For the month of February, the water report went in on schedule to the state. The numbers, as you see, fairly significant amount of precipitation this month. Wastewater maintenance, Crawford, we had to have a door chain replaced on the grit building. Steve Clark approved the repair prior to us having it made. All of the painting and cleanup of the south gallery that flooded in December has been completed. Everything, Steve has walked through it, and I think it's pretty close to being brand new looking. The spare motor that was purchased by F&V has been repaired. Disposition of it still ongoing with Steve. As far as expenditures, the maintenance allowance for the 2022 contract year was expended with an overage of $423.74. Per the contract, 10% markup will be incurred for that amount. Thankfully, the 1st of April is the new contract year for the village and F&V. Waste management removed the dumpster that we were using to dispose of a lot of old materials and equipment, piping, what have you, so that is done. Galecki Welding fabricated 2 metal plates down by the old wastewater plant. Steve and I are speculating either equipment ran over it or the garbage truck, which completely, it's probably a 30, 40-year-old metal plates. We had to have them replaced just if nothing else for safety. What the outlay of the cost was compared to possible liability weighed on Steve's decision for that. Last item is Summit Fire Protection came in during the month of February, serviced all of the fire extinguishers on site, so they're good for 1 year. Just as a side note, not including for February, this past week due to DTE and possibly wind or what have you on this coming Saturday, this past Saturday, we were dispatched 3 different times, 3 emergency call-outs. So the village will be receiving a small bill on that as per the contract. Other than that, Ross, I don't know if Mike's passed on to you the water, but that's it for the wastewater side, so
Yeah.
does anybody have any questions?
Steve, you got anything to add to the
Nope.
wastewater?
I think we're good. And with the new year, we've talked about some things, sump pump, new alarm system, and a few other things that we kind of held off on. So we'll be getting those and going here in this next month.
Okay, good deal. Well, you all have a good evening, and thank you for your time.
Okay, see you, Doug.
Good trip.
Thank
you. Take care, John.
So do we have any other administrative reports?
Yes. All right, I've been trying to wing it the last couple meetings, but just too much stuff going on here. So I did write this up. It's not in your packet, but I gave everybody a copy. I'm gonna not strike them, but just ask council, take a look at items 3 and 4 on your own time. I'm not gonna mention them here. So at the last meeting, we did discuss inactivating, I guess is the right word, the arsenic detention project that we started working on 4 years ago. The costs have really gone out of sight with the increases over the last 2 years plus inflation. It's upwards of about $560,000 now, and we started out at about $280,000. So the good news is the fact that we changed the median, the water treatment plant and the filtration in the filters, that has reduced the amount of arsenic backwash, concentration of arsenic in the backwash water that goes down to the wastewater treatment plant. So we're in a good spot. We're not going to have any problems for a while, but both Rowe, discussing this with Doug Scarlett and Doug Scott, Rowe and I believe that we don't want to fully kill this thing. It's essentially going to be put on the shelf. It's a shovel-ready project. We do have a temporary construction easement with the county that has no expiration date. So we're in a good place there. We believe as the current media starts to age, 7 years down the road, 8 years, 9 years, we're going to see an uptick again of arsenic in the backwash water. So in any case, project's inactivated. Rowe has indicated there's no other monies that we owe them. So that is now shelved. Variable frequency drive and well number 7. Talked about this at the last meeting as well. UIS SCADA has indicated that it's going on probably its 18th year now. That's several years beyond what its usable lifespan is expected to be. And just like we saw here, I guess Michelle, last week you were relating to me the DTE talked to you guys about the electrical transformer and said, got a bad transformer here, we think it's going to survive for a while, and then it went out.
Then it didn't, yeah.
Until it did, yeah. And we had, what, a 6-hour, 7-hour power outage. That's what's going to happen with this pump. We're going to empty the water tower this summer, sanitize it, and the pumps will be going continuously. That's when it's going to blow, to use a technical term. So the cost for the unit is, to include related hardware installation and tuning, is $24,000 and some change. This was not a foreseen item until the tail end of the budget development process, so it's not in the current budget. I think we need to do it, and I will work with Ann to, I want to say underfund, that's not the right word, to reduce funding in another area so that we can do this. I think this is a priority, and I'll bring it back at the next meeting.
How long of a process to switch that over? A couple of days or?
I think it's a couple days because there's circuit cards in the electrical system. There's you've got to adjust the Motorola radio. They've got to tune the system, which is going to take them at least a day. So there's a several day process, and so you can imagine if this would go out when we're operating all 3 wells continuously, and the water tower is voided out, that's gonna be a significant issue.
Is there something too that's on the shelf, or is it long-term, or?
I don't know.
Okay.
I've not pursued it any more than getting a quote.
Okay.
It's discussion for the next meeting, but I would recommend going with UIS, because they know that system like nobody else. But I'm not sure of the competitiveness of the pricing, so I will have to talk to them about that. They've not indicated that there's a big delay to get it, but I haven't really talked to them.
Okay.
Talked to this one with Michelle a little bit, and she suggested I bring it to council. Maybe it shouldn't be a surprise to you guys. I'm drowning in water department paperwork. I got more paper than I know what to do with. Steve, I think, is probably aware of that kind of thing for wastewater. I don't know if it's gonna pan out, but I would like to see if I can find a volunteer in the village that wants to help me get the paperwork in shape, get it filed, organized, and so on, so that I can put my hand on stuff that I need instead of digging through reams of paper. And so this is stuff that I've got, to include the filing cabinet that we've got down at the wastewater treatment plant. That's full of stuff too. And so there's no equipment hands-on here. This is just administrative. But if I could find somebody, I would have them sign the village volunteer disclaimer form, so there's no liabilities. But I would like to give it a shot, and we'll do so if nobody on council has an issue with it. I do want to give some kudos. You did see it in the write-up by the DPW, but give some kudos to the DPW for working now to exercise all the water valves in our distribution system. And this is kind of an effort that Adriana, the summer intern, and I worked on this last summer. DPW's gotten around to it. We found some valves we didn't know that we had, which is another good thing. The valves have not been regularly exercised since 2005. And routinely exercising valves here is going to do a lot to increase the service life of these things and make it easier when we have to maintain and repair the system. The last thing you want is for a valve to be stuck, and now you've got to shut off 3 blocks of houses instead of 3 or 4 houses because you can't get the water to shut off. And it's about $5,000 a pop to replace a valve here. So DPW is on a roll for water, getting this done and doing the preventive maintenance checks in the water treatment plant, the well houses, and the water tower. So pat on the back to those guys. Capital improvement plan, talked to Jarek from F&V Engineering today. We're going to get the final draft plan for review on the 17th of April. And in addition to that, he sent me the updated water, sewer, storm sewer, and police maps. Police maps was an ad by the chief. Police maps for review. Because F&V is about a month behind. They've been snowed under by SRF applications. Because they're behind, we're going to get all these maps at no cost. So been able to negotiate that for them being a little bit late. I would anticipate the draft packet's going to come before council on the 24th of April. I'm talking to F&V about potentially coming out on 8 May to do a quick presentation. But this will, a lot of hard work by Steve and Chris and Dave Wagner, putting all this information together on the systems. This will show council where all of the problems lie in our infrastructure and the general cost to do what we think is the worst of the worst, and then the second worst stuff. So we'll have that coming up. And then last but not least, I find that I'm going to need to do some letters of agreement with some of the certain site owners within the village and the township regarding water lines that are connected to the village distribution system. So it's the schools, couple of the schools, not all, but a couple of them are on village water. They have a water piping that they put in at their cost, and there's fire hydrants on them. It's to our advantage to exercise those fire hydrants and move the water through the entire water system when we do it, but they're their pipes. If they break, it's not our job to fix them. They can hire us, I guess, to fix them, but it's not our job. So I want to make sure that the nursing home, the fair grounds, those guys understand that we would like to work with them and exercise some of those lines. At the same time, it's their responsibility to fix this stuff. And I said that was the last, but there's always more. Just real quick, the annual lead service line report's been submitted to Eagle, and the consumer confidence report on water for the last year is going out with the April bill. Again, it's a great report. I mean, you may not like the taste of the water. That's subjective. Objectively, testably, that's not a word, testable, water sampling has showed that we really have negligible bad stuff in our water. It's great quality water. I can appreciate some people may not like the taste of it. Okay, that's all I got. Thank you.
That's all?
That's it. That was,
Boy,
that
quick.
was simple.
Okay, how about other, Lyle, you got anything?
Nope, nothing for me.
Good
Steve,
for you,
did you
buddy.
wanna do any update on talking to, the guy from DTE?
Yeah, well, earlier in the week, I came up to the office, asked Michelle if we've heard anything from Edison with all the work that's been going on, and she said, not paperwork-wise, and she says, we have a name we can talk to, so Michelle dialed him up and we conversed with him. And he kind of told us a little more about what they were doing, and kind of assured us that everything should be fine. There was going to be about 3 days. They have a big generator down by the driveway at the sewer plant there that was to facilitate some of the voltage. And then it seemed like no sooner than that, we had power outage.
Yeah.
So I texted him that evening. I said, Armada is out of power. I got a text back about a half hour looking into it, and then a couple of more texts back and forth. And then finally he called me. And they had been running a line from another substation to kind of take care of ours. And he was assured by engineers that everything was going to work. Because he said, you know, we had like 2 or 3 other options, and they went with the one they did. And the line, I guess, literally burned up because it was trying to draw so much power.
Sure.
So anyway, that did get fixed later in the evening. And but anyway, we do have,
Portable substation.
yeah, which has already been
I
disassembled.
was gonna say that's gone.
It's already
Okay,
gone.
all right. But that
Well, that was supposed to work too when this other one
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah,
And he said that didn't work.
yeah,
So I don't have a whole lot of.
yeah, I don't know what's going on.
And I
with
did
that.
ask the gentleman, can you give me a name of one of the guys that is actually physically working the site down there? And he said, no, you go through me.
Yeah.
So at least we do have a name, and he does respond to calls and texts.
Yeah.
But
He also said that he was, because he had talked to you about coming and doing a presentation,
Yeah.
and they still are planning on doing that, but I don't know when.
But they are updating, and the one thing they said too, well, we know what happened, that one transformer, they knew some of the readings on it, that it was getting ready,
Go.
and it took a dump like weeks before it was supposed to.
Yeah, yeah.
But he did say to me, and I said, you know, I've noticed that you put other pads down there, I'm assuming you're bringing in more transformers in the future, and he said, yes. And then part of the, I don't know if you've been out Ridge Road to see the steel poles.
Yeah.
I says, is that going to help us too? And he said, yes, it's gonna be, they'll be able to route power in from another direction. Before, we were kind of a dead end,
Then I'll move.
and if the power went out, we were stuck.
That's it.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
I guess something to look forward to in the future. It's not happening immediately, it is being worked on. So, again, we do have a name of somebody that we can call for whatever good that does us.
yeah.
Did you have any more?
No,
I mean,
no, that
okay.
was great.
They were gonna come out in May and
Yeah.
provide some update to the village.
Okay.
Now, I really want them out in May, because I'm not quite confident that they're on it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and part of the thing too, the one evening, it went out, so I drove down there thinking I'll hear that big generator running, and it wasn't.
No.
And then I drove down our driveway for the sewer plant, I thought I'd hear ours running, and it wasn't, because we would still have power.
Yeah.
Delecki's had power, Larry's had power, and our sewer plant.
Yep, the elevator had power.
But the lift station didn't, so I called Victor, he was already in town because his alarm went off for the water portion of it. So I gave him a hand setting up the generator over at the lift station, and later that evening Doug helped him take it down when the power was up, so. I mean, things, we do have contingency plans, that, you know, out there, and it does work, but it's aggravating. So, I'm tired of resetting my clocks.
Working too often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have any, Chris, you have anything?
Other than, if you look at the DPW supervisor's report, supervisor concern number 1.
About the
Are
blight?
we silently reading?
Yep.
Okay.
Everyone a moment.
Okay, well, supposedly he made a list to give it to the office, to give to the code enforcer.
Okay.
Understanding he's actually been given letters in the past, but feels if they did receive and nothing was done, what's the next step?
Yeah, they really don't need to go into these other things. He's made his list, he's given it, now it's for the code enforcer.
That's right.
Okay.
So, and I don't know, I didn't see his report, so I don't know if he had anything for the month or not.
The code enforcer?
Yeah, I didn't see that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't
I don't
see
think
any-
he
I didn't
does.
see anything in here.
That's, I think
That was
that's,
the first meeting.
I was gonna say,
first
that's the other meeting.
That's right.
Okay,
All right.
Yeah.
moving on to general, but we don't have any more administrative reports, so.
Nope.
Okay. Moving on to general business on the consent agenda, we got the approval of the 313 minutes, we got payments of bills, list of depositories, investment policy, and set proposed administration fees. That's all included in the consent agenda. If everybody's good with that, we could have a motion for the approval of the consent agenda.
Mr. President, I'll move the consent agenda be accepted as presented.
Support?
Motion by Howard, supported by Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's passed. No old business to go over. New business, starting with 3B. Capital charges for the water and sewer.
Let me take a crack at it, because Steve and I are both in there, and then there's one motion to cover both of them. So, start of the new fiscal year, obviously we set the budget. One of the things that we traditionally go and do is set water rates, and Steve will say, and sewer rates. I hate to say it's like everything else, prices have gone up. I think the consumer price index for the area is 6.2%, I think is what Ann had indicated. And so obviously we're gonna have to raise rates, because it's part of we've explained in the past, in past years, as part of our bond agreement that we need to maintain pace with inflation to ensure the bond company gets paid for the water treatment plant. The good news, if anything, is that despite the fact that they're gonna go up here a little bit, I think largely through the work of Ann and Becky, that working with the auditor, because the water treatment plant gets paid off this year. This is the final year. It's the 20th year, or the 19th year. No, I guess it'd be the 20th. This is the 20th year. Water treatment plant gets paid off this year. And so, because we're pretty confident, everybody's pretty confident, the bond company's gonna get its money. We've been able to reduce the amount of the increase from 6.2% to 3%. The auditor believes that is sufficient to accommodate any perturbations in the interest rates. So, let me tell you what we've changed here. I'll tell you the easy things first. We've changed the debt service flat fee that everybody gets in their water sewer bills. We've changed that from $26.46 a quarter to $27.25 per quarter. That's an increase of 79 cents per quarter. So it's gonna cost you an additional $3.16 for this coming year. We have also, at the back end here, we have added in a charge to homeowners or businesses that have work done on their properties and have their contractors, probably unbeknownst to the homeowner, but the contractors at times will take meters apart or take the transponders for meters off the house and leave the stuff, either junk it or leave it sitting on the sidewalk. So the DPW then has to come out and fix that stuff at a cost to the village. So there's a $75 charge added in there. Okay, going back up to the per gallon cost and the commodity and the flat rate for water used. If you use between 0 and 5,000 gallons of water, you get a flat rate charge. Last year, the flat rate was $68.07. This year, it's $70.11. We've got a couple properties, for example, that the water, they're not using water, but the water line is open, is what I'm trying to say, but they're not using any water, so they're really using 0 water. They still get a flat rate charge. There, yes, Joe's waving her hand. And so you're gonna pay an additional $2.04 this year per quarter for that. Most people use more than 5,000 gallons, so if that's the case, you get a commodity charge. It's not worth reading all the digits here. But if you use 10,000 gallons, which is probably an average usage, the difference between what you're paying per quarter is going to be about $3.93. So over a total of 4 quarters in the year, you're going to pay $15.72 more this year than last year if you're using 10,000 gallons per quarter, okay, which is a fairly big amount of water. So just to give you a sense of where the rates are going. So it's probably going to cost you another $20, $25, give or take, this year over what you paid last year for the entire year. Okay.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor motion by Ballard, supported by Clark, and we're gonna have a roll call on this.
Did they do, you
No,
didn't
we
do
didn't.
that? They didn't.
That was
They
the-
didn't make
that was the
motion yet.
consent
Do you want to do these separately,
No,
or do you want to do them
We
together?
didn't make that motion?
That was the consent agenda.
Well, Ross shouldn't start until after the motions are made, that's when you have discussion.
Steve, do you want
Mr.
to,
President, I'll
It
be
was so long, Ross, I forgot what was
Wait.
going on.
Steve, do you want to talk about the sewer
The sewer
resolution?
project?
I'll
wait till the discussion.
My stuff here.
Don't want to cut you off.
No, that's fine.
We had that motion.
No,
That's what we're
it's-
having.
It was a good guess, though, since who's making the motions tonight.
Looking for the old, looking for the new.
You had me at 3%.
Yeah, that's all we needed to say.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that was the old. Too much paperwork. Well, that's the new. What was the old?
Old is 2021 for 1,000 gallons.
And the new is 2165 per 1,000 gallons.
Yeah.
So again, a small increase. We've got to be able to cover costs. The cost of everything, cost of living goes up, and so we need do that also.
Okay, so now you can.
And
call
if
for-
anybody would like to see these numbers, because it's hard to digest them all,
Tell me again.
they're all in the office, we can give you a copy of this. So they'll have all the numbers. Again, I apologize. Now, do we have a motion?
Mr. President, I resolve to adopt the attached resolutions approving the new water and sewer rates.
Second.
Oh, sleds.
Kinda messed me up, didn't you? Motion by Ballard, supported by Sleds.
Okay, roll.
Now take the roll call.
Ballard,
Yes.
Sleds.
Yes.
What am I doing here? Hang on. Belkey,
Yes.
Ballard.
Yes.
Oh, you did one. I'm sorry, Clark.
Yes?
See what you started
Conan.
with?
Yeah.
Yeah, now you messed everybody up.
Okay. Motion carries.
Why that one's
So now,
It's hard.
set the proposed millage rates.
Whoever does it has to read the whole thing.
Mr. President, I'll resolve to accept the recommendation by Treasurer Porter.
Oh,
Order.
order. I didn't change
You
that.
gotta quit using last year's.
To approve the 2023 tax millage rate at the maximum allowable levy as permanently reduced by MCL 211.34D and authorized under the Truth in Taxation MCL .22124E.
21124.
I'm sorry, 21124E. With full understanding
Yeah.
and that these requested tax
What do
levy
you mean?
rates will be reduced, if necessary, to comply with the state constitutional Article 9, Section 31, MXL, Section 21124E and 211.34. The following rates shall be proposed. General Fund, 8.6877 mils. Municipal Street Fund, 3.4748 mils. PA 33, 1.2500.
75.
1.7500.
Wow.
Man, oh man. Gotta get new glasses. For total proposed millage of 13.9125 mils.
Support?
Motion by Ballard, supported by Clark. And just to note here, and the general fund millage, the 8.6, and the municipal street millage, 3.4, is the same as last year millage. And the PA 33 is actually down from 2 mils to 1.75 mils. So
How did it?
it's a little reduction in the millage. So do we need another,
Yeah, you gotta go.
Okay, all right.
you need another roll call?
Ballard,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Belkey,
Yes.
Sleds,
Yes.
Conan.
Yes. Okay, motion passes. Moving on. 2023-24 wage allocations for the treasurer and the clerk. Who's that?
Gotta be done before the budget's approved.
Okay, the treasurer and the clerk.
I would make a motion to establish compensation for the treasurer of the village of Armada in the amount of $21,240 annually effective April 1, 2023.
Support.
Okay, motion by Belkey, supported by Ballard. On the treasurer's compensation. You got a roll call on this?
Belkey,
Yes.
Ballard,
Yes.
Conan,
Here, yes.
Clark,
Yes?
Sleds.
Yes.
So
Got everybody?
Yep, I got it.
Okay, motion's approved. Now for the compensation of the clerk.
I would then also move to establish compensation for the clerk of the village of Armada in the amount of $33,541.61 annually effective April 1, 2023.
Support.
Pelkey, Sleds. Want me to-
Yep, yep,
Pelkey,
Yes.
Sleds,
Yes.
Ballard,
Yep.
Conan,
yep.
Clark.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, now we can open public hearing.
now, we need a motion to go into public hearing on the budget.
Mr. President, I'll move that we enter into a public hearing at 7:36.
Can that motion be entered into budget public hearing?
Yeah, sure.
Support.
Motion by Ballard,
I have to
supported
do
by
it.
Sleds,
Gotta
to
do
go
it.
into, immediately to go into the public hearing.
I gotta do roll.
You gotta be roll, yeah.
Ballard,
Yep.
Sleds,
Yes.
Conan,
Yes,
Clark,
Yep.
Pelkey.
Yes.
okay.
Now, you open it up to the public, we don't discuss it.
Is there any questions on the
From the.
23-24 budget? The budget year goes from April 1st,
March 30th.
March 31st.
so it starts April 1st.
Yeah, first.
Yeah, April 1st of 23 to
March
1st
31st.
of 24. So is there any questions?
The number is?
Okay, we can go on a public hearing.
I'll resolve to exit the budget public hearing at 7:37.
Support.
And no roll on that. Was that
Nope.
Russ?
Yes.
Yes.
I can just call.
Yeah, yeah.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. We're on a public hearing. And now for,
Okay, whoever is doing this motion, the salvage, the number that I typed in for salvage is not right.
Okay.
So, what is it, Dan?
Oh, that's 161,000 is wrong?
Yeah,
Okay.
That number was, if you looked at your budget sheets, that was what the expected savings balance would
Ah,
be after
okay.
we withdrew that money.
Mm-hmm.
So you're actually at a negative 1,356.33.
Minus 1.
now where's that at?
salvage title.
How
No,
much is that
It's
again?
gonna be without
Right here.
transfers until they're done.
How much was that?
1,356.33.
You said negative?
Negative.
Okay. Okay.
Can't do negative budget.
Mr. President?
No, Joe says you can't approve a negative
can't
budget.
approve it.
I say, how do you do
That's what their projected balance is gonna be at the end of the year.
Right.
But there could be more income coming in that we did not project for that.
all right, where
Because
is
we
that
did
in
not,
here
because
now?
we left it where it was.
Then would you not make it just zero?
We could.
All right, let's see, income.
Just make it
Put a
zero.
zero.
On the sheet, it's gonna reflect the other numbers.
Because you'll have enough data.
Well, what about your savings in salvage inspection?
You had, remember we showed on the end of the budget sheet what the expected savings balance was, because you're gonna have to take money from that. And
All right.
that's the
Okay, if you incorporate that.
161,000.
restricted funds from
Right.
saving into that, you need to identify it, but then you're gonna be okay. But you can't prove a negative budget.
So what's your thoughts?
Put it at zero until we know, yeah.
Well, in that budget, you'll have a transfer from
So you have
savings.
income
You
of
can-
$495,150, expenses of $499,900, which gives you your $4750 delta. You had a fund balance starting at $3,393.67, and if you take that on it, we're down minus, okay.
So
So-
$1,356.33 is the negative fund
if you do
balance.
zero,
We should transfer from other funds instead of the
Yes.
90, they're gonna need like
Yes.
92.
Yes.
And as you said, Bishop, that would make it, yeah, you just take it to zero.
It just takes, yeah.
Yeah.
so does that change any other,
Would
every
it
other
change the
balance?
general fund budget then, wouldn't it?
Does it?
No,
No? Okay.
that's not part of that.
Okay, so
Gonna make that zero?
Make it zero.
make it zero.
Make it
Okay.
zero.
It'll be,
Never had that.
A few
I don't
dollars,
remember
but-
having a zero.
Mr. President, I'll
Yeah.
resolve to adopt the fiscal year 23-24 budgets with the following funds as presented. General Fund, $756,956.17.
This is what the balance should be at the end of the year.
Correct.
It's the same thing we do.
Yeah. Municipal Street Fund, $145,001.60. Major Street Fund, $142,889.84. Local Street Fund, $6,797.60. Water Fund, $7,271.15. Sewer Fund, $105,029.60. Salvage vehicle inspections, 0.
Support. Okay, who got the support, Ross?
Yeah.
Okay, motion by Ballard, supported by Ross.
Roll call.
Yep.
Ballard,
Yes?
Belkey,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Sleds,
Yes.
Conan.
Yes. So, now we got to redeem certificate deposit at Choice One Bank. And you wanna take that?
I had made an inquiry as to what the balances were on this CD, because the last statement I had was June of '22 that I could find. And when I reached out to him, he offered us an early renewal to redeem the one that we had, because it was earning at a rate of 0.10%. And he offered us to go ahead and turn it in early with no penalty, and he would renew it for a year at a 4% interest rate.
At 4%.
Right. So I told him I
That's what
needed
it is.
council's approval, and then I'd get back to it. So as soon as we approve it, I'll make contact to have him do that.
Well, I don't think it's a much of a
Kind of a
big
no-brainer.
decision to go from
Yeah.
almost 0% interest to 4%
Yeah.
interest.
Yeah.
So,
We
should we get a motion on that?
Make a motion then to accept the recommendation by Treasurer Porter to redeem certificate of deposit number 22972, held by Choice One Bank, originally set to mature December 19, 2023, without a prematurity penalty, currently earning at a rate of 0.1%. Further, it is recommended that said certificate of deposit be renewed with a maturity date 1 year from the date of issue, earning at a rate of 4%.
It was actually at 0.1.
Point,
It's only
yeah.
a tenth of a
Tenth of
percent.
it, yes.
That it was
I'll-
Oh, thank
I'll
you.
support that.
So say it again?
It was only a tenth of a percent.
Motion by
That was in
Yeah.
Belkey, supported by Clark.
What did I say, 1%?
Yeah, it should be,
.1.
get us about $4,300 on it in a year, so.
That's what
You
we're
should
saying.
offer me that same one on my account.
All in favor?
Aye.
So do you need like a resolution from council, or do you just call him and tell him? All right,
Yeah.
I mean, we have all the information.
Let me show you the
No,
one.
listen.
It doesn't sound like if you're looking at the email trail.
Yeah,
All
just-
abstain from
I think I
voting.
just have
Okay.
to call him,
Yep.
and it's just a matter of doing some paperwork.
You wouldn't have had a problem with that. We went from
4%
to
to
4%.
4%.
That's okay.
So, moving on, was there any other questions for Anna on that? Okay,
No brainer.
so now we're at 3A, to fill the president vacancy. So, I think everybody knows that Ross and I have put in to be president. And what's the council's desires?
Mr. President, I'll resolve to appoint David Conan to the elective office of village president for a term ending the next regular village election, subject to the appointee meeting all the qualifications as set forth in Chapter 2 of the General Laws Village Act.
Support.
Motion by Ballard, supported by Clark. I think we need a roll call.
Well, any
Just a
discussion?
couple.
Oh, I'm sorry, discussion, I
Yep. Any
apologize.
discussion?
So the General Law Village Act only requires the president to do three things: run council meetings, set administrative policy, and act as a ceremonial head of the community. The General Law Village Act was passed in 1894. This is 2023. So we face a number of challenges both today and on into the future. Some will be obviously easily resolved, and some are going to be deemed difficult to solve, requiring leadership and resolve to get through it. So whoever the president is, I would expect them to step up, put in the time and energy into the office of president that the residents deserve, and to provide council and the village with a positive vision for our future. Thank you.
Okay, is there any other comments? Then would you have a roll call, please?
Ballard,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Elke,
No.
Sledge,
Yes.
and, I want to call Marv every time. Conan,
Should I vote or
yes,
not?
you can, yes, you
Oh, yeah.
can, yep,
Yes,
yeah.
Motion
Okay.
carried.
motion's carried. Thank you very much. Moving on.
Upcoming agenda items. I believe the April 10th meeting, did you not say that the school was coming? We talked, I told you that?
So you negotiated back with
All right,
them,
okay, all
so
right.
you probably know better than me.
Yeah, all right.
What's that about?
It's the Mr. Armada, Ross knows what it's about. I just talked to them about when to come.
Okay.
No, we got a letter.
You're giving me too much
Yeah.
credit. I think it is Mr. Armada, they just
Yeah.
want to put a plug in for it.
Presentation. So I don't know that it'll be a presentation. It will quite possibly just be citizens' comment, so. I will not be at the next meeting, just so everybody knows, but, you know, it'll be fine. Everybody will be good. Cheryl's back there going,
Is that an upcoming agenda item?
Then I'm
that
not
you're
gonna be
here?
at the next meeting, yes, that is, yeah.
Are there any, there's no other upcoming agenda items?
Did you
that-
have something, Ross, in your administrative?
I'm gonna bring back the variable frequency drive issue to council. We need to get that moving.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Okay.
21,000.
That's when you said you're gonna find other monies from your budget to cover.
We're gonna, either something's gonna get canceled or.
Horse traded.
Horse traded or, yeah, something like that.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Are there any citizen comments? Kevin,
No, sir.
ladies?
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Did your wife say that, or did Patty say that?
I told him I wouldn't say anything. She didn't say it. She meant it.
I actually told her to stay home. But that was like,
You know better
when I
than
said
that.
stay home, that was inviting her up.
Sure
I
was.
haven't seen any stones go flying up there.
Yeah.
Do we
Thought I
have any,
should show support.
do we have any council comments? Okay, moving on, community events. Do we have an Easter egg drop this year?
It's been,
One.
isn't the chamber doing one?
Are they doing that?
Is the chamber?
April 1, Saturday.
Usually
At
Acton
the
does.
township, at the township park.
Okay, April 1st,
Time,
Township Park.
10 a.m.
10
10
And
a.m.
who's sponsoring this?
The Armada Area Chamber of
Chamber of
Commerce.
Commerce.
Okay, not Acton this year.
No,
Do what?
Yeah.
Other years it's been Acton, I just wanna make sure. we-
yeah, it's
Okay.
chamber.
Chamber
I
of
read
Commerce,
it on,
okay.
online.
Okay. Any other council or community events?
You guys, you didn't, shoot, we gotta go back, to the last item because you need to, there were two motions on there.
Yeah, but we didn't need the second one.
We do, because we have to advertise for the open seat.
Oh,
Make a
The open
motion
council
to
seat. Thank you,
oh, I guess
Ross.
that is.
authorize the village clerk to advertise in the record for letters of interest from village electors interested in being considered for the vacancy in the elective office of village trustee through April 17, 2023, with interviews to be conducted at the first regular meeting of the village council on Monday, April 10th, 2023.
So that's coming up.
Support.
Yeah.
All right. Ballard?
Yep.
All right.
Motion by Duffy,
Yeah.
supported by Ballard.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now we got our advertisement for vacancy. I urge you all to ask people, because, you know, it's like pulling teeth getting someone to volunteer.
Deadline,
So,
deadline,
I didn't hear you.
deadline?
Deadline.
Deadline, by before the April 10th meeting.
Right.
Yes, yeah, 2 weeks.
okay, then we have no closed sessions tonight. So, I guess I'd entertain a motion.
The time is 7:51. I move to adjourn.
Support.
Ooh.
All in
Who got it?
favor?
We got it.
Who got it? Who got the second? Selby?
No, no.
It's
All right.
outside of the table.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, meeting's adjourned.